Yeah, welcome to the Making of Me podcast, where we explore the experience and decision that shape who we have become. Our today's guest is Jovonnie Ford, an anti-inflammatory lifestyle coach and wellness educator who help women break free from survival mode pattern that contribute to chronic inflammation, fatigue, and hormonal imbalance. After her own diagnosis with multiple severe health conditions, Jovonnie transformed her life through nutrition, mindset, and lifestyle changes, and now teaches others how to reconnect with their body and restore balance. It's really a pleasure and honor to have you on the show, Jovonnie.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, so Juvena, you talk about, take us back to the moment where your health challenges first become impossible to ignore.
So, it took a 4 hour long surgery for me to realize that my lifestyle patterns was costing me my life. They were fueling my pain, and it wasn't helping me or it wasn't helping my future self. What it looked like was I caught some debilitating pain while I was driving. That pain hit so hard it made me swerve just a little bit into that left lane. In that right lane was an 18 wheeler. So I almost collided with the 18-wheeler truck. And I had just enough strength to pull back into my lane because I was like, oh my goodness, what is happening? That pain I could not ignore. So I ended up going to the emergency room and they did scans and different tests, and they realized I had a large cyst on my right ovary, and it started the journey towards a diagnosis of stage 4 endometriosis, adenomyosis, polycystic ovary syndrome, and they found two small fibroids in my body. And at that point, I was like, I have to change how I'm living. I can't keep living the same way. Even though I thought I was healthy and living pretty good, there were so many different hidden disruptors and patterns in my life that I did not actually address, that I had no idea was causing me more pain.
Wow, this is really a whole lot. So, what was going on through your mind during this experience that led you to the diagnosis?
What was going on in my mind is like, what's happening to my body? Like, why is my body failing me? Why is it hurting like this? What is really going on the inside of my body? That was something that was going on in my mind. Like, what is happening? This pain is unreal. And the pain I've learned now that so many people experience is very real. And it's hard for people to really wrap their minds around how debilitating this pelvic pain and this pain can be. And so in my mind, it was just like something has to change. I don't know what, but something has to change. And I have to change my life and I have to shift some things around because what I've been diagnosed, they says quote unquote doesn't have a cure. But when I did some research, I realized that most of those conditions, inflammation was the root cause. And it was like, okay, but what fuels inflammation? What causes inflammation? And it was the stress, it was the toxic relationship, it was the not so good environment that I was working in. It was being a people pleaser, someone without boundaries. It was just so many different things in my life and the patterns that I was living that it was just like, aren't right. These aren't healthy. And you need to address these because they still impact your health mentally, emotionally, and most indefinitely physically.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. I think it's the fact that you were able to kind of sit yourself back and being able to kind of check a whole lot of things and do them differently. Yeah, it's really amazing. So before that moment, how were you interpreting the symptom your body was giving you?
I was someone who ignored stress. I didn't manage my stress. I just pushed it to the side, or I was just like, I'm not even going to feed into it. But I didn't realize that even though my body had already witnessed it and experienced it, me just not addressing it didn't necessarily make the stress go away. And so that stress still took a toll on my body. Being in a relationship, me growing up as a people pleaser, always prioritizing my partner and prioritizing my work roles and identities, and that was not good because I wasn't taking care of me. I was neglecting my self-care. I wasn't loving me the way I should have loved me. I wasn't making decisions that best align with who I needed to be and to advocate for what my needs and my wants were. And so for me, it was just a lot of neglect, Arrow. Like it just wasn't prioritizing and valuing me, and it was a lot of neglect that really led into this diagnosis. And the diagnosis really changed my life because I truly took that pain and turned it into something purposeful and actually created a movement for myself, and then had the vision to create a movement for others as well.
Amazing. Also, what changed your most emotionally and mentally when you finally understood what was happening in your body?
What changed for me emotionally was,
Yes.
one, I'm gonna be honest, I got depressed. I was
Mm,
really upset because as someone who, went to college and had a health education degree, and then went to college again and got a master's degree in health administration because I just didn't understand how our healthcare system was working here in the US. I just really felt like my body and life just turned upside down. And so I was slightly depressed. It was March of 2020 when I had my surgery and got the diagnosis and understood what was actually happening in my body after that 4 hour surgery. And now we're in a pandemic. So now I'm left alone by myself in a house, no human interaction, not going to school, feeling vibrant and excited about being there for my students and interacting with other people. I'm now sitting here wrapping my mind around my body is on the inside of my body. There's a whole bunch of chaos and havoc wreaking. And I just had to figure out at that time, now I'm not at my job. At that time, I'm not with my partner anymore. And it's just like, I got to figure this thing called life out. Like I'm left all alone. I'm left with this body that I now have to
yeah.
figure out and get to know on a different level. And so emotionally, it was just a lot. It was depressed. It was feeling somewhat shame. What I was doing prior to wasn't enough for my body and my health. But then something shifted for me and it went into a form of empowerment. And I had to realize that my life wasn't over. My identity wasn't in diagnoses that didn't have a quote unquote cure. And there was still life for me to live. There was still a journey that I needed to embark on that turned into self care, that turned into self love, that then turned into self leadership. And I realized I had to get to know myself on a whole nother level that I had never been on before. And I'm just so grateful for that experience, for me to be able to actually turn into this version of myself and give myself the permission to go be me, to go love me, to go care for me, and to go make me happy with me and do what's best for me. And I think that's what really turned those emotions around.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. Yeah, to go all out for yourself and yeah, love yourself and yeah, do everything you actually get to do. Yeah, amazing. Also, what was the hardest habit or mindset to shift during your healing process?
One was the belief that I was worth good things. I was worth a healthy friendships. I was worth being able to have a healthy partner. I was worth being in a healthy work environment. My worth really shifted for me. That was a belief for me. Like I deserved to be in work environments that valued me and valued what I brought to that community in regards to my strengths, my talents, my time, my resources, who I was, what I was doing, the value that I brought. I was valuable in relationships. I deserve friendships and partners that truly valued who I was and showed up for me when it mattered and cared and poured into me and not abandon me or neglect me or anything like that. Those beliefs had to shift for me because I then had to find value with them myself. And that's huge because a lot of times we are so busy and so caught up of wanting people to validate us and be around us and love us and care about us and be our friends that we have to first realize that you have to be your own friend first and you have to know how to show up for you and how to love you and care for you and respect you so you can then show other people how to do that. That was one belief, Arrow. Another one for me was the belief that food can be healing and that every food had value. And so when I looked at food and started making different decisions when it came to food, it was like, what is the purpose of this fruit, this vegetable, this grain, this protein, whatever it was that I was eating? Is it helping me or is it hurting me? Is it going to be beneficial to my future self and who I am right now, or am I emotional eating? So I had to change the belief around food just being food and that food had power, food had function, food had purpose, and food was used, it should be used as nourishment and fuel, not something to feed your feelings at certain times. So that was another belief that I had to shift. And a big one, Arrow, is I had to believe that I was worthy enough to go on this journey and turn my purpose into pain. And that was, I would say, was that third belief that really, really shifted things for me to where I feel like I'm moving so much further away from that person that I used to be when that pelvic pain hit me. prior to that diagnosis.
Ouch, amazing, amazing. A whole lot of things to get to learn here. Meaning that, yes, during your healing process, for a word of affirmation, actually, I was being part of it to being that being able to reclaim your confidence while a whole lot of this particular stuff was going on. Yeah, it's really amazing. Let's boil down to some of your current work and expertise. So, why do so many women normalize pain instead of addressing it earlier?
Because most women are taught to push through pain as a form of discipline. And they also don't realize that a lot of the patterns that they have been taught to normalize aren't good for them either. And so most of the times women have multiple roles. They're mothers, they're daughters, they're teachers, they're caregivers, they're cousins, they're sisters, they're so many different roles and identities in their family, in the various community. And so those roles and identities, they get prioritized over actually taking care of you and figuring out what it is that you need, because so many other people need you. And so they push through pain. They normalize pain because it's what's normal to them, even though that's their body's way of communicating, saying something's off, something is out of alignment, and I need you to do some investigative work. It could be a small whisper arrow. It could be a loud scream, like it was for me when I was driving on that highway headed to work. And so the pushing through pain is just because that's what we're accustomed to. We're accustomed as a species to provide and supply and then show up in all of these various ways that very seldomly do we get the opportunity to truly just take a step back and care for us and figure out what do we need and prioritize those needs and those wants with all the other demands and things that are happening. So if there's a woman listening right now who feels overwhelmed and feels like they're always pouring out to everyone else but hasn't had the moment to be still and really listen and take the moment to really figure out what their body is communicating to them, I want you to just take that moment, whether it be 30 seconds or 1 minute, to really just be still, take in a deep breath, exhale slowly, and remember how much power you still have over you and that you're worth it. Every single day that you get to live is another day for you to be able to live for you and give all the great things that you need to have for you to be your best self. So then that way you can continue to give to others your best way.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much for the whole lot of insight and the advice to my audience too. Yeah, it's really amazing. So, what small daily change make the biggest difference in restoring balance?
I feel like you can't change your results if you don't change the patterns that are
Mm,
driving how you live right now. So you first have to think, how am I driving through life right now? What am I really doing? Am I aware of myself? Do I understand myself? Am I caring for myself? Am I loving for myself? What type of decisions am I making? What are my thoughts, my feelings, my beliefs about life right now, about healing, about my habits, my patterns? And when we don't know what those are, Errol, we continue to just live life the way we've always lived it, because that's what we've been. We've been in survival mode for so long because we want to survive. We don't how we can really start breaking habits and understanding how can I get from surviving to thriving. And I feel like it takes a time to really reflect on those things, share those with another person so they can help you identify some of those
yeah.
blind spots. But it's really getting into a place where you understand your patterns and why you're doing what you're doing. And most of the time, once we understand that pain is communication and it's our body's way of talking to us, then we can slowly start reframing our beliefs around what healing really looks like and start taking steps to disrupt how we're living right now, to break some of those habits, one habit at a time, and really getting into a healing rhythm. And I think that's what's most important.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much. This is really more like a robust and a whole lot of insight to learn here. Lastly, how can someone tell the difference between a normal fatigue and deeper head signal?
Man, first of all, fatigue shouldn't be normal. That's first and foremost. So when someone is experiencing fatigue, that is someone who might have slept for 7, 8, 9 hours, and they wake up and they still have no energy to function and to do all the different tasks in life or for that daily living. And so if you are experiencing fatigue, there's so many different things that is causing a disruption in your body. Now, when you don't get the proper rest, your hormones are not going to be able to be regulated. Your circadian rhythm gets thrown off. Your body systems aren't going to be able to function the way you would want it to, even getting into your digestive system and your gut. And so sleep really truly impacts your health and your life. And in addition to sleep, also stress. And so if you're highly stressed about things, most of the times it's stuff that we don't even have control over, because if we leaned into our center of control, then we'll be able to operate at a higher level to understand what you've been able to do is what you've chosen to do, and now it's over. Let it go and keep moving. And so I really feel like fatigue and head and brain fog, all of those things are a result of your body not being properly fueled and not being able to truly calm that nervous system to be able to get the rest that you deserve. And so many people are dealing with insomnia. So many people are dealing with the inability to really rest. And there's so many different ways that you can address sleep and getting into a sleep habit and sleep routine that's going to be uniquely yours. Like, it's not going to look like someone else's, because what your body needs, someone else's body may not need. So it's really a lot of different factors when it comes to your way you're living that impacts your sleep, that fuels the fatigue and that brain fog.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. Jovonnie, I would like you to tell my audience about the work you do and how we could actually more like help them greatly.
So, what helped me most with the pelvic pain, the irregular periods, the unwanted facial hair, the stubborn weight loss, was really shifting my life over three pillars. I call them mindset, mindful eating, and movement. Mindset, your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs, they impact your decisions. And those decisions that you decide, they translate into your behavior, and it comes into how you're living. And so I use a safe framework when it comes to helping people around their mindset first. And then when it comes to mindful eating, it's really shifting that relationship with food, seeing food as fuel, as something that's nourishing, as something that's going to help you heal, or it's going to hurt you in the future. So really getting your power back around your relationship with food. When it comes to movement, it's just being intentional on how you move your body. What works for one body might stress another body out, and here you go with overwhelming your body, overwhelming your nervous system, and now you're fueling all of the inflammation and getting other inflammation triggers and stressors all involved. And so really being intentional on what movement looks like for you, even as you go through the different phases of the cycle. And so I call it my M to the third degree healing empowerment formula. Those are my main three that I use to take someone through that transformation, to help them shift their lifestyle and break from survival mode into thriving. And I go with a vibe framework: validate, initiate, build, and elevate. And that's the way we work through that transformation.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much for sharing a whole lot of insights and the framework you actually more like use to get your own healing. This has really been amazing. Jovan, for my audience who would love to connect with you, who would love to reach out either for coaching sections or to connect with you or to kind of get more some of your material more, how can they reach out to you and where's the best platform?
Well, you can definitely go to forwardvibrations.me, forward as in the direction we moving forward with our health, our
Yeah.
habits, and our healing. Forward vibrations with an S.me. Also, you can look up the Empowered Plates, Empowered Lives podcast. That's on your favorite podcast distribution platform, as well as Wellness with Jovonnie on YouTube, that YouTube channel. But check out forwardvibrations.me and you'll be able to find all of the ways to connect with me. I would love for you to take the Spot Your Triggers quiz so you can see what patterns in your lifestyle are really causing the pain and triggering inflammation in your life, so you can get that one step, that one action, that one identified trigger to really figure out, how do I start moving and breaking out of survival mode, because I deserve better, because you do deserve better. You do deserve to heal. You do deserve to be in optimal health. And most importantly, you deserve to identify what habits are not aligning with your best self. And so give yourself permission to heal and do some things differently that you didn't know, because pain is not normal, and you are not created to just survive. You were meant to thrive.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much, Julian. Definitely the link your link to your website is going to be added to the show notes for my audience to easily connect with you. Yeah, journey is powerful and a reminder that the body is always communicating, even when we have been taught to actually ignore it. Your work helped women understand that healing often begins not with pushing harder, but with finally listening. Yeah, it's really amazing and a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you so much. I appreciate y'all for vibing with me.